At Bayer, we have 3 divisions, and we are striving to make a difference for human health and agriculture actually every day. And I think we have a super amazing mission, which is health for all, hunger for none. And each of the 3 divisions has a compelling purpose as well, or vision, or how you call it. And so we have an amazing mission, amazing people, but the status quo just was not enough. And yeah, we had to look at the challenges that were heads on, which was, I mean, I don't have to tell you what's happening in the world outside, talking about wars, taxes, currencies, pandemic, you name it. And we had a lot of challenges internally. So our biggest blockbuster was running out of patent exclusivity. Most of you are probably familiar with all the law cases at Monsanto, which are killing us. So there was actually zero cash flow 2 years ago, nothing. And all the bureaucracy in the way. So the traditional management system that actually gave us 160 years, that's how old Bayer is, of incredible success, reached its limits. And we had to look for an operating model that kind of addressed all the challenges that I just mentioned to you. And so, in 2023, actually 2 years ago, really just 2 years ago, we started to create a system that serves our mission instead of getting in the way. And we envision a company where decisions are made by the teams doing the work and not by the leaders. Teams are built around customers and not the boss. Managers become coaches. Innovation cycles are as quick as 90 days. So that we have the scale of a multinational company, we have 100,000 employees, just to tell you. But the speed of a startup, very ambitious. We have some startups here, I heard. And the mission is always at the forefront. And so we are kind of completely reimagining the whole system to the mission focus, and we're putting an end to the hierarchical model, tilting the pyramid completely, and really bring the decisions to the people, because we believe people are not machines. They have much more to offer, and actually they know what they're doing. But all this takes a lot of courage. We need a lot of transparency and trust. So, and the system is called Dynamic Shared Ownership, and I mean, there's a lot of things out there like Scrum and all these methods, but really this Dynamic Shared Ownership was created just for Bayer. And this is built on 5 core principles, and I want to go through them one by one, and I actually want to explain a little bit where do we come from and where are we aiming to go. So the number 1 is, what do we focus on? In the traditional management, we focused on shareholder value, the holy grail, that was all. Yeah. And now we want to go to delivering beneficial outcomes for all. All means the employees. In the center is the patient. How can we make the world better for our patient? What do we have to do to change the world for our patients? And yeah, customers, everybody. And we don't forget the shareholders. They are super important. We need money, we need capital and everything, but they are as important as all the other things. So really beneficial outcomes for all. Second principle, how do we organize? We come from a siloed hierarchy of individuals. You know, these org charts with boxes and names, and we had, I think, 17 or 18 layers. And so when there was an escalation, you went 17 levels up and down again, and how energy draining for a boss, you know, and not very efficient. And in Dynamic Shared Ownership, we aim to organize in a network of entrepreneurial teams. A network is a far different thing, yeah? It's far more fluid and transparent, and the center is the team. So no escalation to the boss, the teams figure out themselves, and the power is in the hands of the team. And like when the question before was, who reports to me, who I'm reporting to now, who can help me, who can I help? So this is really a shift. And next principle, how do we create value? In the old way, it was capturing existing value through competitive advantage. So I believe there's one big pie out there and you want to have the biggest part. And when something went wrong, there was always someone to blame. So a lot of reactive mindset in there. In Dynamic Shared Ownership, we want to create value through reimagining the system. That means not looking at the old pie and thinking what's the biggest piece we can get, but looking for new pies that are out there. Think of Tesla. I mean, it's not the greatest example at the moment, but Airbnb. Who would have thought we want to sleep in other people's beds, you know? And look what happened. I mean, it's amazing. And so it's like, if we don't attract capital or people, it's not because there's not enough out there, but because we don't create enough value. So it's more a mindset of abundance out there. How do we get work done? Before it was through detailed planning and control. I mean, whoever worked in a big company, I cannot tell you how big our planning was, like hundreds of pages. You wanted to really have certainty in an uncertain world. This worked brilliantly in a world that wasn't changing that much, but it's not anymore. And so today we really have these 90-day cycles, and it's more on not planning, but learning. So you really have these fast innovation cycles. You don't over-plan. You really have the motto, is it good enough for now? Then let's start. And every 90 days we do a retrospective. We stop, look back, what worked well, what can we celebrate, but what can we change? And so kind of, where do we have to steer into new ways? Last but not least, my favorite one, how do we show up? So in the traditional management system, it's more like you come with a professional mask and you meet your manager's expectations. I mean, it's a bit black and white, yeah? Whereas in dynamic shared ownership, it's really about how do we tap into the creative, self-authored mindset. Because we believe when people show up as their true authentic selves or as their best selves, they can together co-create something that goes far beyond what was possible before. And yeah, I mean, this won't happen overnight. I told you we are on this for 2 years. We are in the middle of this thing, and the great thing is that really the CEO is behind it. So our CEO came from Roche, and when you have someone at the top that really turns everything upside down, I think there's a chance of success. Yeah, I already talked a little bit about this. So our restructuring was not just taking out some boxes and names, but really having these teams. And it's not easy. I mean, the budget is within the teams. We don't have a lot of budget at the moment. So you can believe there's a lot of negotiation that is happening there. A lot of letting go of power and putting it in the hands of other people. But really everything is, we have product and customer teams. So really focus on the customer, focus on the product. And then we have teams serving those, like technical, enabling, HR, whatever. So it's a real shift. Yes, leadership. I think I could make it clear that dynamic shared ownership is really a complete new way how to build an organization. And it requires a complete new leadership. And so leaders become like, or leadership teams are there to set visions together with the people and help them, coach them, help them learn, help them grow. Yeah, complete different way, coming from command and control into this thing. So leaders become, when you read these visionary architect, catalyst, coach, it's not that one leader is a coach, the other is a catalyst. It's really like, imagine these are languages. We talked about languages today already. And in every situation, there might be another skill set required for a leader. You might be a catalyst in one situation, then you might be a coach in another. So the visionaries are really the one, when you are a visionary, you're really helping with your team together to create an amazing vision and outcomes. As an architect, you're there to design the system, to make sure skills are where they're needed. I mean, we have a lot of teams and people are shifting from one to the other, so really make sure you have the people where they're needed. Catalysts, I don't know if we have chemists in the room, but a catalyst is there to reduce activation energy, so remove roadblocks, break silos, all of this. And yeah, coaches, I don't have to tell you what coaches do, I guess. And constant mentoring, constant coaching, and feedback is really key. At the end of every session, it's like really giving feedback and really honest feedback. So kind of like what makes you great in my eyes, what blocks your greatness, which is super new for people and not easy. I told you a little bit about these 90-day cycles. What I want to emphasize as well, we are not talking about goals or deliverables anymore, but about outcomes, which is not easy for people as well, because when we set ourselves outcomes, so each team has a purpose, we do this. They have a a mission, and then you break this down into long, mid, and short-term outcomes. And an outcome is something when you set an outcome, it's like asking yourself, what value can I create for the customer, and how do they feel when I reach this, and how can I measure? So they're really asking this question about value creation, because we were so lost in tasks and deliverables, not even knowing why we do it. And like this, we learn to focus on what's important and let go of what's not important. And here's my favorite part, this mindset shift. Who of you is familiar with Keegan and Leahy and the research? Yeah, I thought so. So it's really stepping from this reactive mindset where 70% of people, according to research, still spend most of their time. And this is where actually teams in the traditional management system spend their time, meeting other people's expectations. It's great, that's how society works, but when you overdo it and when you're always in this reactive mindset, under stress and pressure, you cannot really be innovative or creative, and you cannot take the best decisions. And it's really helping people to elevate their mindset and step into this creative mindset, where you are at choice, you're not triggered all the time. I mean, you're triggered, but maybe you know how to consciously choose a better response. And where you can, create and innovate things. So this is really where we want to bring people, and this is the hardest piece, if you ask me. And and where are we at the moment in our journey? So I told you we started 2 years ago with frontrunner teams who actually did the whole architecture. The whole company is redesigned. And then we are in the middle of phase 2, so Accelerate to Impact. We have 1,800 teams up and running, and a lot of new systems, new enabling teams, so really a lot going on. And we hope that by the mid-26, we have the whole organization up and running. And so that's actually our pathway. And maybe just when you ask me, do you already see results? We see a lot already. A lot is working well, a lot is not. But we can talk about this later. And one example from consumer health, which is the things you can buy in the pharmacy without prescription. The team in the US, there is this one in a day brand, and sales were going dramatically down, and they discovered that a lot of women are not taking any prenatal vitamins. And they just put a team together, and in 1 year shorter than usually, they could bring a new thing to market. So really just by these cross-functional, a team that was only focused on that mission without any disturbance. So this is really amazing. And another example in pharma, so there's lots and lots of people out there suffering from hemophilia. And a team in Italy went out to the customers, and actually they discovered that it's super difficult because even children, they need 2 injections, and it's hard to handle all that, and so they put a team together as well and invented Froggy, which looks like a frog, where you can easily put the syringes in there and can self-inject yourself. In 90 days, they brought this out. So this is really amazing. And and so we hope that this new operating model has several advantages for the customers, to bring out world-leading innovation. For the investors, having a better financial situation than at the moment. And for the people, because as I said, we don't want people to be machines, but really to be fulfilled at work and to find their purpose. And maybe a couple of more words of how was this accompanied by coaches. So I told you I'm a business coach, and I established an internal coaching network at Bayer, so from people for people. And through this, I was asked 2 years ago, do you want to become a DSO coach? And I said, DSO what? What this is all about. So we were like, I think we started with 40 people. In our best times, we had 150 coaches internally that were trained by Everett and McKinsey in what is dynamic shared ownership. And in the beginning, so the idea was that all teams go through a 2-day immersive where they learn what is it all about, with a lot of interaction and feeling it really. And on the second day, what does it mean for us? And so in the beginning, we were a little bit facilitators, let's call it this way, and I think only the minority of us DSO coaches were real coaches actually. They were leaders, they had experience in leadership development. In the course of all this, it became clear much different skills are needed or additional skills. And so a couple of other trainers were brought in that upskilled us in this mindset things. How do you work on trust? How do you work on triggers? So we got upskilled there. And I think all coaches are now in a coach training program paid by themselves. And so it's really, our skills are evolving, the needs of the people, so we really work with the individual teams on 3 days team activation, find your purpose, find your outcomes, work on trust, work on whatever is needed, and a lot of work to do, and some advertising on myself. I'm leaving Bayer at the end of the year, and with 4 other colleagues, we are trying to bring what we learned at Bayer out to other companies. So when you're interested, here we are. And with this, I think that's what I wanted to tell you today. Are there questions? Or
If you have questions, no.
Yeah, very interesting model indeed. I have a question because you gave some examples about teams who are creating innovation and and I was thinking about the more operative teams where they're actually, they are used to implement things coming from all parts of the company, like maybe customer service teams or less creative areas. How are these teams reacting to these changes? And how is it working there?
actually, I have to tell you, teams are reacting much better than all leadership hierarchy people. And I mean, even in an operational, is it a factory line? Is it out there on the customer? It works. You just have to adapt it. They can find. There's much more that they can decide themselves. Is it their shift plans, whatever? I mean, they really react positive. I mean, there's always people who don't like it, but you will never get everybody. But it works. You just have to adapt it a little bit due to different, skills, whatever.
Thank you.
So we just heard before. Oh, sorry.
Hello, I'm right here.
Voice.
I could imagine, given the history of the company, that this is a significant personal change for people. And I'm just really curious, like, what did you notice about what really grabs people that said, yes, I'm in? Were there patterns or things that surprised you about what enabled people to let go? And
I was surprised that I would say 85% of people immediately were enthusiastic about the whole concept, because it's not what we call a culture change or just new, it's the holistic way. And I think what people love is this mindset. This was new to everybody, I think, that you're a choice in your life. Oh wow, really? So, and the idea to give really the decisions to the people who know what they're doing. So I think I saw more people that were in it than not. And I think the people who are not in it is just, if you ask me what the biggest mistake was, maybe, is that when this was implemented, the whole old leadership people were left where they are. So, and this is the difficult thing, because, I mean, why are they where they are? Because of complete different skills, command, control, ego, all of this, and this is really hard to change.
Okay. So,
I think there were.
this question and you, and then
My
maybe last.
question is answered already.
Oh, okay.
In addition to the 90-day sprint cycle, how would you differentiate DSO from Agile, Scrum, Kanban approaches?
I wouldn't differentiate it. As said, there's everything in there. So there's definitely a lot of Scrum, but that's not all, So when you talk about the 5 principles, it's really the let's call it holistic way, but I would say there are Scrum methods in there for sure. And I mean, who read Humanocracy or Reinventing Organizations, I mean, nothing is completely new.
You answered partly already my question, but I guess I'm curious to hear, if you didn't, because my question was going to be, what management changes if you did at the top of the house, right? And if you left the leadership layer as it was, how did you manage to change that mindset, especially when let go?
Have I said we managed?
Okay.
I would say they're in the middle of, be compassionate with them, right? I was a bit impatient at the beginning. I said, Jesus, are you not getting this? But they have fears, they have whatever, so they get coaching, they get feedback, we're in the middle of it. Some get it easier, some will never.
So and was the rationale for not making any changes?
Personality. I would call it unconsciously unskilled. If they don't know that they don't know, how could you? And that's not meant in a bad way, right? I really have compassion because you came to this career step for a completely different way of being.
So I see we have a lot of questions, and I would make following suggestion because we have now the break, and at 11 o'clock some workshops start, and I get the hint. Maybe not everybody is aware where the workshops are. There's a stair up to the second floor, and there are rooms where the workshop happens. You can still hear the question and answers. And if you would like to have a coffee or whatever, the break is from now until quarter past.
And I'm in a panel discussion as well. So.
And you will be available in the panel
And
discussion.
on the break, so just,
Yeah, okay, so then
I'm here.
one, and there was another second, okay, and third one. So we have three.
Great interest.
And feel free to do what you need.
I just have a logistical question. How do I find out what workshops are happening?
I can't answer.
There's on the online agenda, and then there's paper somewhere where you can find it on the online.
So my question is, we are also talking about giving more decisions into teams and stuff like this, which makes it obviously faster, more simple in the processes in a big corporation. But do you give the teams or the leaders any kind of guidance in terms of that? Because it sounds very easy to give the decisions into the teams where they belong, but it's also quite risky.
There's a lot of guidance, actually. We as coaches are there to help. They get programs on how is leadership changing. Probably there would be more help needed, but we don't leave them alone. And it's not so easy, you're right. But it's doable. Thank you.
So maybe the microphone.
This directly leads to my next question, because you cannot train and coach all teams in parallel, because not too much enough trainers and coaches. So how do you really do the transition? Do you do it branch-wise? Do you do it level-wise? How do you pick the branches that you transition first, or the levels that you transition first, in order to ensure as well consistency in the work practice in the various areas? Because if a area with a new concept works together with an area of the old concept, there might be some misalignments, mismatching expectations and abilities. So how do you keep this consistent and keep the passion for it, so that good experiences help the other teams to become in favor of the new DSO as well?
Good question. We started at the top to make leaders buy in, and then we kind of went down. And I told you we had 150 coaches. They were working day and night all over the globe. And then because we realized it's not enough, we established a network of DSO champions, which are not that trained, but enough to work with the teams. So each team should have a champion in them, with them. And we have so much training, SharePoints, everything, podcasts, broadcasts out there. And Bill Anderson, so the CEO, made it pretty clear. He said, those who don't buy in have no place anymore. He said this last year. So he was really clear, but we are in the middle of it. Yeah?
Thank you very much, but we have now to close the conversation, because I learned we have to take care about the room. Please continue the conversation in the breakout or in the break right now until quarter past. Thank you very much.